I'm going to make an apology up front. As an Aussie and untutored in different languages, my pronunciations are going to be rather awful. The journey of the tarot is one of evolution, and one of the things that surprised me in all of the work that I've done over the years is how much fear is actually attached to the tarot cards as a tool of divination. It has been linked with occultism, with evil, with the Antichrist. So perhaps it's important for us to understand how the tarot pack actually came to be and why it's evolving to this day in our modern world. The reality is that the tarot cards actually started as a game of chance in the early 1400s. The first written rules were seen in 1425. The first pictorial cards were in the 15th century, called Visconti, and many of those pictures have become the basis of our subsequent packs of cards. In 1760, a man named Nicolas Conver created the first real pictorial set of cards, very famous, called Tarot de Marseille. Because of those cards, a Swiss clergyman and mason called Antoine de Gebelin decided that the cards were a tool for divination, for looking within, for inner wisdom. Now, de Gebelin was interested in Egyptology, and he made the link between the deities of Isis and Thoth with the workings of the tarot pack. de Gebelin decided that the word tarot in Egyptian meant royal road. And at that time, the people that were doing fortune telling and divination were gypsies. Now, de Gebelin decided that the Gypsies had their ancestry in Egypt. So his symbolism and his explanations became predominantly Egyptian. This is why with the Rider-Waite system we see the sphinxes leading the chariot rather than the horses of the original artwork. This has been since rubbished by Egyptologists and subsequent historians, as was also rubbished by Rider-Waite after he had produced his original cards. So for the first time in history, the tarot cards have been linked with magic and mysticism. We then have someone that comes onto the scene 100 years later with a man named Eliphas Levi. Now, Eliphas Levi was the son of a shoemaker, and he'd actually attended a seminary but then fell in love and decided to get married instead of becoming a man of the church. But he wrote treatises on magic and mysticism, 2 very minor works on religion and the inner belief system, and then 2 major works which subsequently got him thrown in jail. Eliphas Levi had a huge influence on the psychology of looking within during that period of time, and particularly around the structure of the Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn. You have probably heard that the Golden Dawn is the basis of the tarot pack. One of Levi's famous works were called, please excuse my pronunciation, Dogma et Ritual de la Haute Magie, which I would imagine means the dogma of ritual and high magic. This piece of work was subsequently translated by Rider-Waite, who called it Transcendental Magic, its Doctrine and Ritual. Now, Eliphas Levi could almost have written for today's current spiritual work or our New Age system. Now, Levi also wrote about the tarot, but he was quite happy to leave de Gebelin's idea of the Egyptian symbols in place. He talked more about the magic and the mysticism and the way of using the tarot cards as a way of looking within, as a mirror to the soul. Because the belief system and the structure of the Golden Dawn had so much influence on the meanings and the structure of the tarot pack, it's important to understand the underlying organisation of the Golden Dawn. In 1886, a man called Westcott got hold of what is now known as the Cipher Manuscripts. This was 60 folios or 60 pages dealing with the initiation rituals of magic and the elements of earth, air, fire and water. These pages were seen to be written in 1809 and were in a cryptic language, or a cryptogram. Now, the cryptogram has been attributed to an old German monk by the name of Trichemius, and so therefore it is called the Trichemius Cipher. The symbolism was based in the Hebrew, where certain symbols replaced certain letters. The ciphers dealt with rituals and instructions about what is called the Hermetic Qabalah, or the nature of divinity. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in Britain, this is in the late 1890s, was firmly established and was made up by all class of Victorian society. This was a group of people who got together to work with and experiment with the four classical elements, which is earth, air, fire and water. Theury, which is Theury, was about rituals and spiritual development. They also worked with occultism, which they saw as hidden wisdom. Magic, which was conscious manipulation, what we would call bringing the things in that we need in our lives, manifestation. Wicca, which is about the study of earth and earth magic, and Thelema, which is understanding our true will, what we might say our soul identity now, what it is that our soul journey, our destiny is here in this day and age. In the early 1900s, a group of people took over and became leaders of the dawn, one of them being Rider-Waite. Now, in 1909, Rider-Waite wrote and designed and created the Rider-Waite Tarot Pack. Now, one of the members of the Golden Dawn was Pamela Coleman Smith, and he recognised her as an artist, so asked her to design the cards based on his instructions and based on his interpretation of the Tarot Pack. Now, Rider-Waite then decided that he would change the rituals, he would change the format, and he would change the structure of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn to exclude all magic, and instead focused on Christian mysticism. Now, interestingly enough, you'll notice in the Rider-Waite system that the Egyptian symbols still remain from the Gebelin. It was post-1909 that Rider-Waite decided and denounced that the Egyptian symbols actually had anything to do with the journey. But they remain to this day as his original pack. Rider-Waite wrote The Key to the Tarot, explaining why he had created the symbols he had in the cards. And if you've read it, he actually argues with some of the other opinions around as to why this symbol was here and why that symbol was here. He leaves questions open himself within some of the meanings of the cards. The reality is that the Rider-Waite pack became a bit of a bitzer. It became, from the symbolistic point of view, a bit of Gebelin, a bit of Levi and a bit of Rider-Waite. Please remember that the tarot has evolved so much since 1910. Our society's changed, our belief systems have changed. They have gone from perhaps strict Christianity into something that involves probably more to do with some of the ideas around the original Golden Dawn and Levi's work. It was meant to evolve and will evolve right along with it.